Okay, so I am very happy to introduce to you folks the founder and owner of NorthFin, very high quality fish food that I've been using for many, many years. I've had the pleasure of speaking with him on several occasions. We actually had some fun over at the Ohio Cichlid and Catfish Association meeting. And this is Darius, and
Hello there.
hello, Darius, how are you doing?
Good, good. Finally,
Very, very.
finally, we sit down to talk.
Uh, th- that's right. The last time I think I spoke with an employee who's no longer with you,
Yeah,
and I think afterwards you and I had some questions, and so this is an opportunity for us to sort of follow up with that with some more current information, perhaps some more accurate information.
correct.
So I have some questions for you that some of them sprang from our discussions over in Cleveland. But I want to find out, for those of you not familiar with NorthFin, uh, NorthFin has originally came at least onto my radar as a provider of quality African cichlid food. But since then, they have expanded their offerings to every type of aquatic critter, including saltwater, marine, and nano and fry and veggie and everything you can think of.
Yes.
But let me get a little background from you, Darius. Tell us a little bit about how in the world you got into fish food production.
Okay. Well, my background is a food industry engineer, and I was a fish keeper like everyone else. I started keeping fish in the 80s when I was about 10 years old. And I started with the one tank, then the second tank, then the third tank, and that's what it started. And then I was going to school, getting my trade, and yeah, started going deeper and deeper and deeper in the fish keeping as a hobbyist.
Now,
Uh,
when you say you were in the food industry, you were in human food preparation. That
yes,
okay? How many
yes.
years were you working in there?
Well, I finished the school and I've been working at the beginning, basically at the beginning till I immigrated to Canada. So that was a couple of years.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
what encouraged you to make that switch? I mean, that's a pretty big jump to go from human to switching over to fish food and as far as career, working for somebody, getting a paycheck and
yeah.
going off on your own with the risk involved and going on your own. What motivated you to do that?
Well, to start with the process is basically identical. The process making the pellets, so same thing as making cereals and making the spaghetti. The machinery is very, very identical. Only the ingredients that you use is different. Um, and the idea was, well, when I came to Canada in the 90s, I started fish keeping, and then I worked a little bit at the other factory here. But I opened an online store, aquatic online store. I had online store. I had an import export cichlid business that I ran, I believe, close to 10 years here in Toronto area. I used to import the fish from Africa, Germany, Czech Republic, and used to sell it and ship it all over Canada. So that started. And at that time, uh, with the food, there was not a lot of choice. All the foods were identical. The formulas that were in those foods were basically 50, 60 years old. Nothing was new. Everything was manufactured, whatever was manufactured, 50 years ago. So then the idea was to create something more nutritional using the best available ingredients at that time and to start something new and better. So that's how the idea was born.
Got
And
it.
I believe,
So you
yeah,
were doing something out of necessity for getting a better fish that you were selling?
yes, yes, because I had at the times I had thousands and thousands of fish, and like everyone else, where at some, especially with the wild caught, you struggle with the bloat, you struggle to feed them proper diet, and you end up with the problems when you don't have the proper food. So yeah, it needed something needed to be done, and I tried lots of foods, but it didn't met my expectations. So
And of
yeah,
course, the subject of bloat is a one that's in the mind of a lot of fish keepers, a lot of African cichlid keepers. Why would NorthFin be any different in bringing about bloat than any other brand that's out there, without mentioning any names necessarily?
yeah.
But why would NorthFin be a better alternative for those fish keepers who are concerned about bloat?
Well, everything comes down to the ingredients that you use in the food. The fish are adapted to digest marine proteins and anything that comes from the water column. Uh, terrestrial, the fish struggle. I'll always struggle with the terrestrial proteins like soya, corn, all grain. They're not adapted to digest, and that's basically the main issue that cause the bloating. Of course, there may be some parasites, maybe some disease that is dormant in a fish, but that the wrong diet will encourage those parasites or disease to start producing and causing issues.
The things that are just not normally found in that water column, like your soya, your cereal, your what we would call fillers or binding agents.
Exactly.
These would create a or help to bring about a bloat in the fish.
They will create blockages because the fish cannot digest properly, and yeah, it creates the inflammation, and it creates problems for fish, specifically when the vegetarian fish, herbivore, and it doesn't have the proper diet. It may cause a lot of issues.
So this could be worse with your fish that have a high veg diet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the types of I have some of the bags here, and for those of you not familiar with the NorthFin logos and marketing, you can just look at my shirt here and uh, and the shirt that Darius is wearing. But these are a couple of the bags I have with me here. This is their cichlid blend and some of the krill.
Yep.
Yeah, the bags are open because I was eating a little bit of it before today's call. Of course, that's a joke, but I want to ask you about specifically about some of the ingredients. Now, on the bags, I've noticed they say brand of the year award, and what does that mean? What does this little medal on the bag that says
Well,
brand of the year? I'm sure it's available on the right up
yeah.
here in the corner. There's like a little medal. What does that mean?
Well, it's a worldwide branding awards that selected companies are voted and gets nominated for the awards. So it happens all over the world because the first time we traveled, I believe, to Austria to accept it. The second time was in UK. The third time again in UK. So the companies from the whole world gets selected, nominated, and voted, and then presented with the awards. And I
And
actually have one award. I have it right here.
oh, nice,
So it's a gold
very
plated,
pretty,
24 gold plated, 24 karat gold plated award.
very nice. Now, if were you competing against other fish food makers, or was it just a general branding?
Yes, yes, there are others too. Yeah, but they're selecting the country. So we are number one in Canada.
Nice, very nice. So let's get into some of the questions that I hear from time to time, and some of the ideas that I have that may or may not be correct. One of the mottos of my channel, as you probably know, Darius, is always be learning, and so I keep an open mind. And you and I got into a discussion about how I tend to mix foods because I want to cover the full spectrum,
Yes.
and because of an idea I picked up a while back and was confirmed by another a prominent fish company out of Germany, telling me that no one food really had the everything. But yet when I brought this up with you, you had a little bit of a different take on it, which I found very, very interesting. Can you share with me and the people watching this video, what are your thoughts about creating food mixes for our fish?
Yeah. Well, mixing overall, mixing is good. So there is nothing wrong with the mixing. You can mix it different foods, and you are okay. The only thing that I see that is when you selecting getting top quality food, and then you're mixing with something that is very, very low quality with the soya, corn, and that, you devaluing the good quality food, and that part can cause some issues, and basically you diluting the nutritional value of the high quality food. So that's my take. But mixing, it's fine. If you have a tank with the carnivore, omnivore, herbivore fish, you can mix all different pellets as long as they are in a good quality product. You are okay. So mixing is acceptable, and it's fine. Only thing that is why you dilute the high quality product with something that is very, very low. That I don't see the point, because you're just wasting your money.
What we call here in the United States, maybe they have it up there, like a thing called a hamburger helper, which is basically just to take a half pound of hamburger and feed 25 people. So we don't need to add hamburger helper to this food.
Exactly.
Another idea that floats around, no pun intended, is the idea of soaking, pre-soaking a pellet. I had someone tell me that they would soak because they felt that this would be less likely to create bloat or clog up the fish. They wanted the pellet wet a little bit before the fish ate it. But when I do that, all I get is dust in my tank. What are your thoughts about pre-soaking pellets?
Well, the pre-soaking only works if you have a finicky fish, and sometimes the fish does not accept the hard pellet. So then pre-soaking may help for them to start eating. Overall soaking, well, you're putting food in the water, and depends on how long, you leaching everything out of it. So on the end, depends how long you're gonna leave in the water. You're leaching the nutrients, you're leaching vitamins, you're leaching everything out of the pellet in the water.
It's the cloudiness that develops in the glass that you're soaking in. Those are nutrients being pulled out of the pellets.
Exactly. So you're losing some, not everything, but you're losing some in that water. So,
Okay.
it's but yeah, sometimes pre-soaking for the finicky fish, it's you have to do it because there is sometimes fish just like softer pellet. Regarding the bloating, I don't think that's any issue with the hard pellet or soft pellet to the bloating. I think that's other things that cause the bloating and those issues. So I don't think,
So
as I was feeding my fish for 30 years, and I didn't have anything that because the pellet is hard, the fish will bloat. There was some other things that create those issues.
I'm glad that you're bringing this up because I think a lot of folks think that a person just gets into the creation of fish food as a job opportunity or as a business opportunity, but you came from actual hands-on fish keeping, and we're trying to elevate the quality of food for your own fish that you were selling. Maybe even originally, not even with the intention maybe of selling it. I don't know, but for example, there's another prominent fish food company I know that he talks about in a video about how he was a wholesaler and he kept adding ingredients, taking ingredients out, and observing the fish when certain ingredients were not there or put in, or get tips from clients that he was selling fish to. Hey, that last batch was very colorful, very hardy. And so he would keep tweaking the formula and tweaking the formula until he ended up with the formula. I think there's a lot to be said because it's almost like you had an unintentional laboratory that you were doing with your own fish. You still keep fish. I mean, you showed me some of your
Oh
tanks.
yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yes, I do have here. I do have 15, 16 tags. I have a couple in a factory, a couple in other location. So right now, it's just I don't have that much time to 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 dedicate to the fish, but I still have quite a few tanks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you showed me some pictures that were beautiful. Uh, I want to ask you a little bit about ingredients. We see so many different kinds of ingredients on the back of packages, and I imagine that fish food is a lot like human food, where the higher the ingredient appears, the higher percentage it is in the food. Is that the
Yes.
same standard?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as
Okay.
the list is listing all the ingredients in line. Because
Okay.
sometimes you can see proteins listed in one column, then the veggie in the other column, and then something in the third column. So then you don't know which one is the first one because there is a three columns and it's not aligned. So basically, it can be soya first ingredient, but it's going to be from the second column. But as long as you have a list that is listing everything in line, that's going to be the exact weight. Also, it have to be listed in a dry form, not a wet form. So it has to be a meal. You need to see the word meal, because when you see the word meal, then it's exact weight of the ingredient that goes in the formulation. If you see just a fish meal or salmon meal or salmon, that calculation can be done with the weight, that weight. And as we know, fish has 80% water in it. When that water is extracted from the fish and it's made into the workable ingredient for the pellet, the weight becomes different and it falls back on the list. So the first ingredient of the wet weight can be salmon, but when everything is processed, that salmon will end up behind the soya, behind the flour, and farther on in line.
And this is why the word meal is important
Important,
when you're
yeah,
looking at fish food. And if it doesn't say meal, it should raise a flag.
yes.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, reading off of this here, what does it mean when it says guaranteed analysis?
Well, guarantee analysis is when we run the batches, when we run the product, we test it. And as you can see, there is a minimum and maximum. We're listing minimum and maximum, so it's not like nailed to the exact number. So you can see protein is minimum to 42, I believe, over there. So that's a minimum. Most of the time it's going to be a little bit higher. So there is a fluctuation. So it's going to be a little bit higher. So that's a protein ratio in a formula. So that's
So
an
you're under you're under promising, over delivering.
yeah.
Go with the minimum.
Well, we're losing the money because the protein is more expensive ingredient.
Well,
So
that
the
I'd
more
imagine. I'd imagine. Now, what does it mean when someone looks at the ingredients and sees the word whole, WHOLE, whole Antarctic krill in the krill formula,
yeah.
whole
Well,
Antarctic?
so the
Why not just Antarctic krill, or why not just krill? Why whole Antarctic krill?
there is a lot of different ingredients. Some ingredients not available as a whole ingredient. Some ingredients are available as a whole. So like a krill is available as a whole ingredient. That means the whole animal is used in producing that krill meal. Same thing with the herring. A whole herring is used to produce the meal for the product. Like other like a salmon. Salmon, I didn't see any fish meal that will say whole, because usually salmon comes from the rendering plants that getting the fillets out. and that's what you end up. So shrimp meal, there is not gonna be the whole shrimp meal because most of the time the shrimp is for the human consumption. So you will end up with the meal that is produced from the heads and tails and shell. So there are some products that is not available in whole, and there are some products that is available in whole. So you want to see the whole because whole animal is used. So you're getting the best nutritional value out of it.
So the word whole is a good thing.
Yes,
Now,
that's the
when
top of the line. That's what you want to see. Because if there is no whole, then then the food is made basically from the scraps and leftovers from the from the factories.
like the rendering,
Yeah.
the tail and lips, fins and lips.
Yeah, exactly. Tails and scales.
Scales and tails. That was the name of a store in California. Scales and Tails.
What
They,
hit
they,
you?
oh, do you really? Yeah, they used to sell fish and reptiles.
Yeah.
Scales and Tails. There was some misconception. I had a misconception that you clarified for me about ash. Tell me a little bit about uh, why should I not be as concerned as I was before about the amount of ash in a food?
Yeah. So like I was telling you, some people even confusing why is the ash in the food? And I was reading on the forums, why do the manufacturers put the ash in the food? Well, we don't. We don't put any ash in the food. That's a natural thing. The ash is a minerals that when you test it and you're ashing the product to calculate nutritional value. So basically, it burns the product to the ash and then calculates the ash because the ash is basically not digestible material on the end. So that becomes ash. So it's a natural thing, and the ash you will get from the vitamins, from the minerals. The ash you will get from the plant material. So that's where the ash, and of course bones, fish bones, and other parts of the fish, bony parts of the fish. That will uh, calculate as a ash too.
So when I see ash, for example, in your krill formula, there's 9% ash. It's also 9% ash in the cichlid formula.
Yeah.
Am I in some sort of sweet spot? I mean, where would I like to see ash?
Yeah, you wanna see around 9, around 9 on the more protein formula, and around 12 for the veggie formulas, because the veggie formula contains more plant material, and the plant material will contribute to the ash content. So you wanna see for the cichlids, you wanna see 9. For the veggie, you wanna see 12. Anything about 12, 13, that will be access. Or if you go the other way, if you go below 9, then you have to be concerned, because if there is no ash in the product, that means there is nothing there too. Especially vitamins, minerals, and the plant materials. So that's a concern. You don't want to be too low, but you don't want to be too high.
Very good information. I was always thinking that ash was something that was just actually destructive, but you're saying it actually can contain valuable minerals in it.
Well, the ash is a mineral. Most of the ash comes from the minerals. The fish will take what it can take, and the rest gonna end up in your tank. But the fish will take. So the ash is the vitamin and the plant material that producing the minerals, and like a kelp, spirulina, it has a lot of minerals too.
Very, very good. Now, we talked a little bit about adding garlic for finicky eaters. Sometimes I'll soak in focus or garlic guard. Your comment to me, I think, was why? Because your food actually lists garlic as a pretty high ingredient, which explains to me why the fish are so voracious when they go after it. So you are including a garlic in your, is that in all of your fish foods?
All the formulas we have a 2% garlic. in all the formulas. Anything above 2% will gonna stink up your tank. So the sweet spot, it's 2%, and we have in all the formulas garlic in there. So I don't
Excellent.
think people should worry adding even more garlic, because adding more is not always better.
And I notice you have organic ingredients like organic kelp. Then the binding agent, I guess, is wheat flour,
So
but
yeah,
that isn't necessarily organic.
no, but we're using non-GMO human grade wheat flour. So the top quality, like you're buying in a store.
Excellent. Excellent.
And that's for us is the best binding ingredient that we can do. We can use at lesser amounts, and it works for us much better.
I also notice a large amount of vitamins, niacin, riboflavin. I think things like this, B12. Uh, where where did you get the idea of these combinations of vitamins? Is this anecdotal, something you've hit and miss with, or is it based
No,
on some type of vitamin
no,
research?
no. Those vitamin premixes are basically the same for all the companies. They're for the fish. So basically, it's a standard mix. You can tweak it a bit. You can remove something added, but it's basically the same thing. All the companies using the same mix. They're buying from the premixes. They're buying from the same pharmaceutical companies that mix those mixes. So there is nothing special over there.
So the vitamin and minerals that are added are provided by a company and then just added
Well,
in the formulation.
we buying vitamins, and we're buying separate minerals according to our needs, and we mix it what we need for the formulas.
Got it. Now, what are your thoughts about feeding? I've heard two schools of thinking on the size of a pellet. Some people tell me that a smaller pellet is going to be a little easier to digest for a fish. Some people say your bigger fish are not going to get enough unless you use, a 4, 5, 6 or larger uh, pellet. What are your thoughts about? Does it really matter the size of the pellet? Is it a personal preference? Do you recommend a bigger pellet for a bigger fish? Do you think there's really any any uh, any value? I mean, I feed two, maybe two, maybe three or four, two mostly, and my big Oscar, he just eats like crazy. But to get a lot in there, I mean, when I use the six, the big giant chunks, it seems like it seems to make more sense with the size of the fish in his mouth, but I'm not really sure if he's getting more nutrition necessarily. What are your thoughts on a big and a small pellet for bigger fish?
Well, you don't want to feed too big of the pellet to the fish that cannot like swallow it right away. If the fish are chewing the pellet and creating a mess through the gills, then that means the pellet is too big. So you have to look at the fish mouth. If the mouth is big enough to get bigger pellet, then it maybe not no issue. Some fish, even the big fish, have smaller mouths. So you have to select the smaller pellet. But as long as the fish, when the fish eats, does not create the cloud when it's eating, through the gills,
Yep.
then,
Yep.
then you are okay. So you need to look at the fish. You need to look how the fish are eating, and then adjust the proper size so it's not messing your tank, and the fish are eating properly. Because if the fish are spitting and cannot swallow the pellet, or the pellet is too small and it's falling through the gills, then yeah, you need to do something to get it right. But that's to the each aquarius to decide the
I
pellet
know.
size, so the fish are properly fed.
I know what you're talking about with that sort of smoke that comes out of their. When I feed them frozen krill, they put they try and capture so much of it that it looks like they're smoking a cigar, and it looks like they're carrying eggs, even though they're males. And sometimes they'll carry it for 5 or 6 minutes and then spit it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
give up.
they cannot swallow it. So yeah, you may need to cut it in a smaller pieces so they can swallow it.
Yeah, these are the big fish. I mean, they're they get greedy. They just try and stuff a bunch in, and And of course, sometimes you see a fish with another fish in its mouth
Oh yeah,
that's
gets
only
stuck.
like halfway, and you go, how is that going to work, right?
Yeah,
And but it happens in the wild, so
yeah.
sometimes I guess they die. But um, how would you recommend that somebody gauge how much they feed? I mean, I see bags that say feed what can be consumed in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. My cichlids, they're done in 15 to 30 seconds. I mean, they're so voracious. There's nothing left in under 20 seconds, right? I mean, they just attack it. What are your thoughts about the proper feeding amounts?
Well, the listing on the all fish food bags is just a standard thing. So yeah, not much can be done on that. What I would say, you need to look at the fish. When you're looking at the fish and you see the healthy fish, full belly, well, not too full, but not skinny, then you will know that that fish was fed proper amounts and it's in good health. When you see the fish that are, the belly is double the size than the fish, then yeah, it's overfed. Or sometimes the fish with the sunken belly, then it's underfed. So you have to look at the fish. But by looking at the fish, you can say that's what we need to do. Feed it less or feed it more.
That's really really good advice and something that I tend to promote. It's like
Yeah.
the fish will tell you if you're looking.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know,
And you
watch.
will see how the fish acts in the tank. You see everything. So you have to look at the fish, and the fish will tell you everything. And the overfeeding, it's a bad thing. Overfeeding, especially with the NorthFin, our food it has basically more nutrition than any other foods on the market. And when you're selecting lower nutritional food, you may need to feed it 3 or 4 times a day. When you select NorthFin, sometimes I feed every second day. So you feed it less and the fish getting more because the food has everything in there, and you don't need to feed it 4 times a day to keep the fish
more
healthy and proper shape.
more of a bioavailability. I've
Yeah.
heard the fish are wasting a lot of energy trying to move empty fillers through their system
Yeah.
and getting nothing out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was looking at the bellies of every fish that swam by. I've got one that's a little old and he's not really eating as much. He's got a little bit of a belly that's sunken, but the rest of them all they don't look plump, they're not bulging, but
Yeah.
they look rounded.
Yeah.
And
And that's how they should look.
now you see a lot of fish food formulas with color enhancement. What are your thoughts about these so-called color enhancing foods?
Are you talking about the hormones or
Well, hormones are off the table. I don't
okay.
you know you I remember a while back you used to hear stories of people buying fish. They get
Yeah.
them home, the fish would color down. Sometimes it even turn into a female.
Well, sometimes you're buying at the store 1.5 inch peacock and it's full color, and you take it home, and in 3 months it's pale, and yeah, it's a female, and he dies after another 6 months. You know, so yeah. Well, the color, well, like NorthFin, we using only natural color enhancers. So we're gonna have a krill, which gonna promote red orange color. Um, Spirulina, green blue. Spirulina gonna be green blue color. Kelp, again, we're gonna work on a green blue color. And within astatixin is gonna work on the red orange color. So everything what we have is a natural. So we don't have
Okay.
any artificial pigments, artificial coloring that will impact the fish. So
Yeah,
everything is natural what we're using.
I think good nutrition and decent, good aquarium conditions, good water, good nutrition, good lighting.
And
I think
setup,
that
aquarium setup is very important too, because some fish likes darker aquariums, some fish likes lighter color aquariums. It depends on the aquarium to bring out the proper fish color.
I've noticed the substrate can have an impact too.
Yeah, yeah,
Lighter and darker substrates. I have a female Feste that I just moved from one tank to another, a dark substrate tank to a white sand tank, and she completely lightened up.
yeah.
And
Got pale. Yeah,
yeah,
that happens.
very, very interesting. Now, why? Here's a chance for a shameless plug. Why would somebody at the fish store? He has all these different brands in front of him. Some are much less expensive. Why would they pick NorthFin? Why should they go with NorthFin? If you were in the store standing next to him, the person asked you, "Why should I buy your food? I can get this food for about 25% less. Why should I get your food?" What would you say? What would be your answer?
Well, I think the people that choose Northern, they know already about the Northern. They're reading on the forums, they're analyzing the ingredients, they're comparing other foods. Even if the Northern a little bit more expensive, they see value in it because there is a value in it. Because sometimes even the prices are the same, and you just look at the back label, and you can see the big difference in it. So everyone that's choosing Northfin, they already know. And the person that doesn't know, the new fish keeper, yeah, those people don't know yet. So they still need to learn and get a little bit more experience and education and to determine which is better and which product to choose. Because there is a lot of product on the market, especially for the fish keeping. Some products just a waste of money, but that's for the hobbyists to know and to make the right decision.
Well, you said something that's I think very important that speaks to this, and that was with a higher nutrition food, you can feed less and get the same comparable or better result.
Exactly.
And so if you sit down and really do your math, it's probably a less expensive option
Less
when
expensive option. Yeah.
yeah, when you look at the nutrient rich quality of it.
Yeah, and
So
the fish getting more nutritional value, feeding every second day or once a day depends on the fish. Smaller fish needs to a little bit more food. The bigger fish, adult fish, doesn't need as much food as a fry. So you have to determine the quantity of the food that you feed to the fish. But
yeah,
overall, yeah,
very, very good. Well, I think you've answered the questions I think that a lot of folks have out there about the food. Uh, I want to thank you for
I have
providing me with some food that I gave away at the live stream last week. I sent the whole box out to the winner of a drawing. They're going to be very happy. I'm
one.
sending them the Bug Pro, I, the bu-
Mhm.
the Bug Pro. I'm sending them some of the pellets, the community, and I'm sending them the cichlid out. So thank you so much for sending me those packets that I could then send out. And the folks at my local fish store, a very large fish store, very successful fish store, the Aquatic Critter. I've been taking samples there, and they're excited about the opportunity to start offering Northfin. So the word is getting out. The word is getting out here, certainly here in the Nashville area. It was gaining popularity among the cichlid keepers in Southern California 5 years ago when I was there, and so it's gaining a lot of traction. And so thank you so much for sending those samples to me. Thank you so much for sitting down here with me tonight, and also for spending some time with me in Ohio. That was a lot of fun. It was a
Oh
pleasure
yeah,
to meet your wife, and it was just it was the highlight. And also Jerry Martin, who you remember from Jerry's Fish Room,
yes.
he said spending the time with you, and he said in the discussion we had, he said that was the highlight of the weekend, which is funny because it wasn't inside the. He said, well, he goes, I enjoyed all the displays, I enjoyed seeing all the fish and meeting all the vendors, but sitting around and chewing the fat, as they say, with Darius, because that was the highlight. So, thank you so much for that. So, any closing comments that you'd like to leave the viewers with before we wrap up? And I hope. Oh, one thing I wanted to say. One of the reasons I mix is because I want to make sure not just the spectrum of nutrients, but I want to make sure that fish that feed off the top uh, don't dominate so much that the lower feeding fish don't really get a shot at it.
Mhm.
And if you were to come out with a line, here I am. Uh, we're talking about Ben's blend.
We have that already.
A line that includes floating and sinking, a little bit of floating and a little bit of sinking, and this way, fish at all levels on the water column, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm mixing sinking with floating, because there are some fish that are subdominant. They don't want to even get into the battle at the top.
Mhm.
Like in my South American tank, the Oscars and the chocolates, they even the giant uh, vieja doesn't want to get up there. It's just too violent,
Yeah.
so they stay low. So I throw the food in so that a lot of it sinks very quickly, or else the fish at the bottom, the severum and the silver dollars, they won't have a chance.
Mhm.
So anyway, just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there because a bag that says includes both floating and sinking to cover fish at all levels, I think could be something. But
Yeah, we can look at that. We can look at that and see what can be done. But the Ben mix we already have.
yeah, we were joking around about me mixing food, and he came up with a Ben's.
Well,
Send me the.
we have some new. Oh, I wanna mention another thing. We were talking about the meals, and again I see a lot of people are confused about it. All the commercially made pellets are made from the meals. So there is no other way. So there is no raw fish involved. There is no not. They're not gonna take whole fish, throw it, and make it the food. So everything is made out of the meals. There is no other way, and at least for now. So when people saying, "Oh, I don't wanna," they're using meals, and I'm gonna choose the product that does not list the meal on the package. It's no difference. That food that not listing the meal is made from meal because that's a process.
Like in the cichlid formula, it shows
Yeah,
whole Antarctic krill meal,
yeah,
whole herring meal, whole sardine meal. Those
yeah,
are the first three ingredients.
yeah.
And you're saying that anyone who is formulating fish food is using meal.
Meals.
They're
Everyone is
not
using meals.
they're not
There is
accepting
no,
delivery of whole fish.
yeah, there is no whole fish in there. So because the fish is 80% water, uh, from 1 to 15% oil. That water and the oil needs to be extracted to prepare the ingredient. So the first process, and usually the fish food manufacturers don't do those things because this is the process that the other plants are doing. So the plants are getting the fish, they extract the water, and they extract the oil, and then the process to the meal. And then all the pellet makers buy the meals and mixes because that's the only way to properly mix all different ingredients in one. So the pellet is consistent. There is
Now,
no
you
bones.
mentioned
There is no any parts visible in there, and that's the process. So everything is made from meals. There is no other way. So people should know that.
but there is a different way to work with the meal. You
Yes,
mentioned to me about the extruders, the pellet making machinery that you
yes,
use, how it operates at a lower temperature than what is commonly used by other companies. And
yeah.
by operating at a lower temperature, you are maintaining more nutrients. What's the deal with that?
Yeah. So again, we like everyone is saying, "Oh, they're cooking the pellets." We don't cook the pellets. The meal was when the water and the oil from the meal is extracted. Yeah, it undergoes the higher temperature. When we getting the meal, we mix it we're processing, we're adding all different ingredients. We run on very low temperature because we not need to cook anything and to heat it to the excessive temperatures. There is a temperature regulations by the CFAA, FDA, USDA. There are some regulations, but those regulations according to the plant. So like NorthFin has the lowest heat requirement because we not require we don't have any bovine or chicken ingredients on any other animals that pose a risk to contaminate the pellets, like for salmonella and other bacteria pathogens. So we are on a lower scale of the temperature regulation. So we don't cook. So like vitamins and all the good stuff that we put, it's heated and dried at the lowest temperature possible. And that's why the pellet sustains and keeps most of it in the pellet and does not lose excessive amounts.
Are other companies in the preparing of the pellets using higher temperatures, you think?
Yes, because like I said, it depends on the factory. If the factory has chicken meals, other animal like bovine, they're using blood, they're using bone meal. Those are required to heat to 160, 170, 180 degrees because of the contamination.
I get it.
And
So
we
this
we
cooler
only
process.
yeah, and we only do with the fish food, and we don't do any other products, so there is no risk of contamination. Yeah, so we're not cooking anything. You're getting the everything what we put in a pellet is very getting very little heat, so it sustains most of it, and that's the most nutritional pellet that you will
Now
get.
tell the people who are watching this video who is making the pellets and who's quality checking the pellets.
Well, I do. I make
Okay.
everything. I do. All the pellets are run by me. So I maintain everything. I run everything. I overlook everything, and yeah. So basically, everything goes through me.
You
So
are a
yeah,
despite a market presence, you are a family owned.
family, small company. Yeah. So
Well,
we have a control. We
your
have
wife, your son.
control. Yes. Yes.
I know for me, I love supporting like your local fish store, for example, because it's you're helping to put food on the plate of a particular of the person who helped you with your with your visit to the store. So this is a family-owned operation. You don't have 100 employees.
No.
You have a few. How many pellet making machines, extruding machines do you have?
We have one. We have one main one. Then we have some smaller ones, some smaller equipment that we can do some different things. That maybe in the future, I have another plan that I'm setting up. So we'll see. So we're gonna bring more new equipment, and we're gonna do a little bit more newer different maybe products. So we'll see. But we're a small company, and yeah, a whole family, and I have some part-time employees, and I have full-time employees. So it depends. Well, we like to grow. So as we grow, we're gonna hire more people, of course. But right now, yeah, we're on a smaller side.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing for you to relocate to Nashville.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how in Canada how everything will end up here, because it's right now it's not so good.
If things don't start getting better, come on down.
So
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I'm sure those who are interested in fish food are going to find this very informative. Uh, my cichlids, the ones you've been seeing back here the entire time, my South Americans that my viewers are familiar with, my other tank here, my mixed sort of South American tank. Those are on a diet primarily of NorthFin. I do mix other foods. You folks out there know
yeah,
that I do mix some other
yeah,
ones in, but NorthFin has become the prominent food in my fish room, and so I thank you, Darius, for all the
yeah.
support.
Thank you.
And
And I'm gonna show you. Well, that's our newest product that is coming out. There is a
Bug Pro
one.
sticks.
Yeah, it's a bug sticks. It's a 1 mil stick with the insect protein. So
Nice.
any bottom feeders, even top, it floats for a bit and it sinks. So that's our newest. So we're ready to release. There are a couple more new formulas, and of course the Ben mix.
The super mix. Oh, you got to send me a bag of that. I now what we keep ending off, but then always thinking of something new. What's the advantage of a stick? Why a stick?
Well, some fish, it's like a small worm. So some fish likes different shapes, and maybe people liking different shapes too. Something
Hmm.
different. You're feeding pellets, you're feeding flakes. Now it's a stick. So you are changing the shape of the food. So the sometimes the fish will accept better sticks than the pellet or the flake. So it's a lot of different things. But
Well, you know
like
me,
I
I love
said,
variety.
yeah,
I love variety. I think the fish, and I don't know if they really care one way or the other, but I think my personal opinion is, in the wild, they're constantly coming across something different all the time.
yes, they will eat
And
everything that comes to them. Yeah,
yep, and we'll never duplicate the exact conditions
no,
of the
no.
wild, but we can certainly come close.
We try,
Oh,
yeah, we try to do our best, but yeah, we're never gonna be the same as in the wild.
that's
But
right.
but
The glass,
we can achieve very close.
yep, yeah, glass boxes are. Even though I saw some tanks that were so large at the Ohio Cichlid, the at the Ohio Fish Rescue, he had tanks that were so large they were like small lakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so thank you so much, my friend, and I appreciate it. Uh,
Thank you, Ben.
check back when this video does upload to YouTube, which might be this coming weekend. You may want to check in on the comments
Mm-hmm.
and feel free to respond to some of the comments because some folks might have technical
Yeah,
questions.
for sure.
And so I would love for you to just jump in and if we get a topic in the comments that seems to dominate or create a lot of attention or activity, we can maybe revisit down the road and
We
and
can, we
and go
can do
after that
another
topic.
we can do another video. Yeah, we can do
Perfect.
another chat, and then we can explain a little bit more because there is a lot of different things that we can talk.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I will Okay, I'll get this edited and ready and uploaded. I'll try for this weekend, depending on
Yep.
my schedule. But again, thank you so much. Please say hi to Asta. It was a pleasure meeting her, and uh, and I think that's it for us. Thank you, my friend.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
And I'll do one little closing message. Uh, for those of you who would like to subscribe to the channel, just go ahead and click up here, and that you'll be able to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to see the entire food tips and list playlist, I'll put it up here, and my best fish keeping tips, I'll put those down here. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in, and that's it for me. Thank you so much, Darius.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone.
All right.